All right. Hello and good evening to everybody out there. Today is April the 19th, Tuesday night, and it's time for Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB. We got some interesting people on here we're going to meet and talk to in a few minutes, and we're going to have some fun tonight. Let's see what's on our thing here to talk about. We're going to be talking about Hamvention tonight. It's coming up soon. You guys following us on Facebook, you've seen. You have seen we're getting ready for that. I'd like to welcome all of our shortwave listeners out there on WBCQ, International Shortwave Station of the Planet, up in Monticello, Maine. So if you're listening out there tonight, you can join us on the web. You can watch the video at w5kub.com. That's w5kub.com. And we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email. Send an email to us at tom@w5kub, tom@w5kub. And tonight we have our co-host Frank Howell back with us tonight. Let me see if I can find Frank here. If I can find the right mouse to work.
Just point it due south.
There we go. So, okay, so let me see if I can. Boy, I got so much stuff to flip here. There we go. Frank, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Tom, listen, I'm doing well. I am doing well. Couldn't be better. Just turn your beam due south. Can't miss me. We've got a good reflective path now in Mississippi down I-55, so we'll get a lot of ground wave connection.
Well, that's good. I'm trying to make some adjustments here while you guys are talking. We've got people all over the internet looking. Man, we got people from all over the country here. Hopefully, some of our shortwave listeners will check in with us too tonight. You know, I know you've been a busy guy down here. I don't know what you do, but you're so busy with meetings on Tuesday nights, it's hard for you to make the meeting. So we welcome you back tonight.
Well, glad to be here. And part of it's how clubs are when they get that date or day of the week set. It's for love nor money. Well, maybe money, but I don't have enough to get them to change the date. So I'm the program director, so I get the speakers and stuff, and so I'll rotate out of that. So I may bug you some more.
Okay, I'm getting some feedback from some of our engineers out there in the chat room, telling me I need to adjust the audio a little bit, and I really did. You were coming in about 40 over S9, actually. So I had to back it up just a little bit there.
You bet. You bet. Bob Howell makes those PR40s so that they really get the volume over the wire.
It's funny. This is a PR10 here. I came in here last night, and it was this part here was laying over on the table in the dark, all by itself. It had broken off the stand here, and I called Bob. Bob's sending me a replacement, but I glued it back, and it looks pretty good there. Well, look, let's do this. Let's go to our guest tonight and get our show started here. We got a great show. We've got with us tonight, and let me get some pictures on here. Gee, where's my control center operators? All right, here we go. Tonight on the show, we have Jim Tiderman, N8 IDS. He is the general chair, I think, of Hamvention this year. We also have Michael Kalter, W8CI. He's the treasurer for DARA, and he's also a member of the board of directors there. And, we're getting really close to Hamvention. We got about 30 days. And, boy, we're getting excited about coming up there. We're going to have a big show for everybody. And let me just mention this. I have to mention it. This is some great stuff. Our friend astronaut Doug Wheelock is joining us again this year. And he will be with us, I think, all day Friday and Saturday. So he will be with us this year and joining the crew. And there's Kathy and me and Tommy and Freddie. We'll be up there to try to present a good image there of Hamvention to everybody out there. So that's going to happen. We get a lot of prizes lined up for our viewers and they always like that. Let's let's talk about Hamvention and what is anything new or anything happening. Let's see. Michael, you guys haven't changed the dates or anything on us, have you?
Tom, I can answer that for our gentleman, our guest.
All right.
Is there anything new? Well, is there anything new in ham radio? Because if there is, it's going to be at Dayton.
Well, that's true.
Hey, that's a good point.
Well put. Well put.
I will tell you, we are going to make an announcement tonight of something that Jim here has been working on with, actually it's an international sort of venture that he's putting together. But before we go to that, I want to tell you that, it is really a pleasure for us to announce that sales are better this year than they've been in a few years. And that's sales for exhibits, inside, outside, and tickets. Very strong this year. And the weather here has already turned beautiful. It was like 82 degrees today. And Jim here is making arrangements for good weather for that weekend. He did pretty well last year. So, and he's got some connections I wish that I had. Anyway, we are really excited. I think we're going to talk tonight a little bit about, I think we're going to jump right into the new exciting thing that we've got going on. So let's go to Jim. And Jim, what do we got for him?
Hey, good evening again. What we've got this year, folks, is something that has really not been done, I don't think, at Hamvention ever before. And the idea came to us from a gentleman while we were down in Florida at Hamvention. I was very fortunate to go down there and be a part of it. And while there, we were asked the question, Michael and I were asked the question, what are you going to do this year that's new? Not the way we talked about new here because it's all new, it's a Dayton, but and exciting. So I think what came up here within the 36 or 40 hours that we were down there to talk about this is we turned to a 24-hour Super DX station for Hamvention. What does that mean? It means that we're going to have, and we are attempting and putting together now, and it's come together very nicely, to have just that, a Super DX station with its own call, W8D. We've got that confirmed. The people that are coordinated are coming up with several pieces of equipment I think are going to be a pretty impressive list. And let me go to my cheat sheet to give you an idea of what we're going to have at the station. It's going to start out with an ICOM 7851, top of the line piece of equipment. A Yaesu FT-DX 5000 MP, and along with that, a Kenwood TS 990. So you can see from the onstart that we're not starting with something that is just run-of-the-mill. These are very, very nice pieces of equipment. Backing those up, we're going to have OM 2500 plus amplifiers. Array Solutions are coming in, and they're going to have bandpass filters and bandpass switching for all of the incoming, outgoing, the RF itself, being able to control it. We're going to have Radio Sport headsets, and we're going to have Bengali keys, straight and embolic, some of the best things on the market. But what there's being featured through radio waves, who Emmett and his wife, Rochelle, have very graciously come up and told us that they were going to supply the 2 hex beams, which are some of the new concept beams that they're putting out. We're going to have a pair of them, where we usually only have one trailer out there for amateur, for the antennas, for the amateur radio station that is run by W8BI. We're going to have a second one. The hex beams are going to be on these 2 towers, but along with that, we're not going to forget our W8BI special event station, which is just around the corner from where this station is going to be located, the DX station. They are going to have their own wire antennas that are going to be new and improved as well, being supplied by radio waves. So So what we're going to be doing here is doing a not really simulcast, but we're going to have side-by-side operations to be able to accommodate not only the DX portion of our hobby, but every other portion of the hobby, and where you're going to go into all the different bands that we have from the people coming across, just getting their licenses, coming on for the first time, or if they're seasoned operators, come on there to WEBI as well. The station itself, the Super DX station, is going to be located at door number 1, the ball arena entry. So if you have any past programs, take a look at our program, take a look for entry number 1. They're going to be at nighttime, it's going to be lit up. You're going to be able to see the towers, the antennas, and off of those, we're going to have the advertising banners for everybody that is going to be involved that's helping us out put this on. There is a company over in London who have pneumatic masks. They're going to be putting up one of theirs. They were going to demonstrate them for the inside exhibits. And we asked them would they wanted to be involved and put it up in a practical use for one of the hex beams for the station, and they agreed to do so. We caught them just before they shipped all their stuff over to get here for Hamvention. We're looking forward to see that as well. So I've got to give a large shout out to Emmett of Radio Waves for spearheading most of this. I've got a young gentleman on my administrative staff, Jim Shaw, who was helping me do this as well. When I can't be there, he's going to be in there coordinating things with the station. Our security people are supplying 24-hour security for it so that we have a total 24-hour station. Now again, the bands we know aren't open all hours of the day and night. Some are, some aren't. We don't know what's going to happen. It's just like radio. It's going to be either yes or no. But we're going to prepare to be able to be on as long as we can. And the bands that they're going to be on are going to be in the 20, 40, 12, 30, probably down to 10, 12. They're going to try to get on all the bands that they can, the Mars bands and everything else as best they can. They are going to coordinate that between both the WABI station and the W8D to where they're going to have flip charts on each station telling what band they're on. So if there's going to be some activity on one band, they're going to share back and forth as best they can. So again, we invite our visitors to come over, take a look and see what they can do or want to do to take a look at what we're going to be branding, as we said, the Super DX station. Right now, I'm going to turn it back over to Michael for a couple little things.
So Jim, let me ask a question. Jim, are you guys going to issue QSL cards?
We are, and it's going to be. Oh boy, you caught me unawares there. I should have had this prepared a little bit. There was a company, and I apologize for right now, and I'll apologize them for ahead of time for not having their name right on the tip of my tongue. Emmett has done this. He has arranged with them, and they said they're willing to do it. And I think it's Gigaparts, but I'm not going to say for sure which it is. But yes, they will be. All
right, cool. I'm going to be up there. I won't get to work you guys.
That'd be great,
Frank.
You know, Tom. Really, what's the appropriate comment is something that the old sportscaster Kurt Gowdy used to say, and you know what that was?
What was that?
Whoa, Nelly.
So
that's a major thing.
So Frank, I think you said you probably are not going to get to go up there this year. Maybe at least you'll get a chance to work them.
Well, that's good because you need someone to talk to. I probably won't make it this year. I've got some competing obligations, but that's just a super announcement. I just think that's a great way for companies to showcase things. You have the individual showcases. That's what, vendor displays are about. But getting them put together so that pneumatic mast. You've got the new, those really cool looking radio waves hex beams that a lot of people are going to, and they've got their own line of them within the top of the line hardware, all the way down to filters. Now, see, that's a great way to showcase products in the mix, as you said, of practical application. So, bravo.
Well, that's great. Go ahead, Michael. You got more detail or got some more things?
I'll just also want to thank our friend Adil. He's from Dubai. He has an interesting character. He's got an Irish call sign, a Pakistani call sign, UAE call sign, as well as an American call sign, which is Whiskey Echo 4 Alpha Alpha. And he's the one that really helped put this thing together, brought us Emmett, and talked to the man in the suit. When Mr. Tiderman here, our illustrious general chairman last year and this year, he's the man with the suit. Wherever he goes, he's wearing a black suit. So Adil says to me, and Adil and I have been friends for years, and he says, Michael, where's the man in the suit? So when you see Jim at Hamvention, he's going to be the man in the suit. But I think it's a really exciting for us. Add something new in the fact that it will be even after hours of Hamvention. We have a location where people will be able to get into and make contact with, especially the international people, or if just DXers, period, come in and enjoy that station. So we thought it was a really nice, new and different thing. And this was the gentleman, Adil, who asked us, so what are you going to do different this year? And there it is. And so we thought we really want to share that with you. We thought that was pretty exciting, along with, everything else that comes to Hamvention. But this is a new and exciting thing for us. So.
Well, yeah, that's something new, and there will be a lot of people around the world that would really want to work you guys, and I'm assuming you're going to have some nice QSLs. Well, I'm going to have to figure out a way to work you guys. Maybe I have to take me a mobile rig up here or something.
Yeah, well, you're going to be a few booths away probably.
Yeah.
Might be great. You might want to, if you can bring your roving camera around and take a few shots of that, and, might catch somebody,
Well, we'll sure be, we'll sure try it. The linking equipment we have back to the booth to the internet covers probably about 75% of the inside buildings minus the arena. So we might have coverage. We'll try to get back there. If not, we'll try to get back here and at least film it and bring it up and stick the memory chip in and show everybody, almost real time. But we'll try to make it there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest new thing that we've got going on at Hamvention for this year. And of course, one of the things I do want to emphasize what our club, the Dayton Amateur Radio Association, does. And by the way, Frank, you talk about your club meeting. We have on third Tuesdays of the month, we have our board meeting, and Jim and I are both on the board as well, the board of directors for Dayton Amateur Radio Association, which is the parent organization of Hamvention. And one of the things we really take very seriously is our role in amateur radio, not only having Hamvention, but giving back to the amateur radio community. And so we don't just, I just want folks to know if this is the first time that they've seen us, or I want them to hear the fact that we make lots of donations to youth, to scholarships, to people like yourself, that are trying to, keep amateur radio alive, not only alive, vibrant and growing. So we wanted to make that clear, and if anybody had any questions about that, we don't just hog the money and say, oh boy, we're a really rich club. We really do share the wealth. So we're doing a lot of things there. We talked about eventually having a segment with our local National Weather Service, and we've helped donate and help them set up a very nice new station there. and because we cover half of Ohio, eastern Indiana, and northern Kentucky, which is a big area, and especially this time of year with wicked weather coming in. And we are also, we just had a meeting with a coordinator from our local Veterans Hospital, local VA, and we are putting in a big, beautiful station there, including the, antennas and the tower and the radios, and we are helping them move that along. So we get back considerably to our club. Anyway, any question from that? Because I got another topic I'd like to get to.
Tom, I'd like to respond to that. I'm a little bit aware of your club meetings. My good friend Martin Jew was one of your guest speakers some months ago, and we have lunch frequently. And I used to live in Starkville when I was a professor there. But he was just so impressed at the scale of your monthly meetings because you do stuff. You have things going on. You have great prizes each month. All the things, I'm a professional sociologist, and I've studied groups, just like a lot of hams study RF propagation or DXing. And so what he was telling me really, from my vantage point, speaks well. You guys not only know how to do Hamvention, but you know how to do a good club. And so I echo, not having been there in person, but I echo what you said, and that those social capital bridges, as we would call it, of doing things for others. And bravo for the VA hospitals. There are what we kind of call nursing homes these days, the Del Webb chain. Del Webb was an amateur radio operator before he got into that business. And many of those assisted living communities have ham clubs because he knows that population, if you've got 200 people in residence, you may have a dozen hams. So I just applaud your approach and your attitude and what you're doing with what you've built there.
Well, I tell you, I don't think anybody does it bigger or better than DARA. In fact, I joined the DARA club last year, and you don't have to live up here to join the DARA organization. And I get their newsletter and read it. It's interesting to see all the things that they do. And hey, wherever you live, if you want to join the Dayton Amateur Radio Association, I think it's $10, and they'll put you on the membership there. And they do so much, like Michael and Frank were just talking about there. So that's great. I'm glad you're doing something at the VA too. I'm a veteran, and that's really really cool. So back to you, Michael.
Okay, good. We're going to, and Frank, thanks for the kind comments. I appreciate that. Especially coming from a person that studies the social, I guess, the social traits of organizations. And we may want to have a discussion sometime of what it's like to run a Hamvention with 350, 400 volunteers, and how you manage that without anybody getting paid, including Jim or myself, anybody. So it's a really good dynamic. And one of the things that we decided is if we started paying people, we wouldn't get as much work done. So thank you for those kudos, Frank. We want to talk a minute about our award winners. Actually, Jim is going to talk about them. But before we go there, I think Tom Medlin won an award. And Tom, you want to tell us about that award real quick that you won?
Well, no, wait a minute. I assume you mean last year, right? I didn't win again this year.
No, not yet. No.
Did somebody nominate me this year? Man. Okay. Well, yeah, I was the person that was honored to win the Special Achievement Award. We won that last year, and it was for taking this webcast to ham radio operators around the world that can't, get to Hamvention or can't get to Hamfest. They don't have money, or they're sick, or they're too young. I mean, if you've got a 12-year-old ham out there, he can't make it to Hamvention if he's, 600 miles away. That just isn't going to work. So, and when I was growing up, that's the way I was. I was in a little town, I never dreamed of going to Hamvention. Of course, as I became an adult, I've been here 35 years. So anyway, we appreciate the award last year, and very honored to have that. And I know you've got new award winners this year, and you'll also have a banquet to for them on, I guess, Friday night.
No, that'll be Saturday.
Saturday night.
But your award was well deserved. There's a lot of people that apply for these awards or get nominated for these awards, and it's a fairly difficult task to go down through all of those. And in one of the things that really resonates well with every award we give is the fact: did this amateur, and we have club of the year, or did this club, did they do something that really has made a mark and made a difference in amateur radio and affected a lot of amateurs' lives in a very positive way? And or be it new technology, be it a club that's doing a lot of things, and be it somebody like you that's bringing up information and allowing people to learn more about the hobby and what's going on in the world. Hey, there you got it up there.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's a very nice. You didn't lose it. So,
yeah.
And it's still surviving. It's not broken. That's good.
It's not. No, it's a good quality.
Well, thank you for bringing that out. That's impressive. Thank you.
So anyway, I know we have just a short segment of time left here, but we did want to talk a little bit about some of our award winners, and Jim is going to do that. Mr. Tiderman is going to do that, and we are very proud of all of our winners. And so, Jim, why don't you tell them about this award, the Amateur of the Year? Is that all right? Can we move to that, Tom?
Yeah, you sure. Go right ahead.
Frank, any other comments?
Oh, no, you bet. I was just going to applaud. We gave George Thomas a dinner when he won. And, the biggest plaudit you can get is his wife said, I didn't realize George was that important. So for an XYL who's not a ham, hey, it made a big impact. So go ahead.
George is a good guy. We enjoyed him an award as well.
Okay. And thank you again. I'm just going to be brief on it. I'll name them. And if for all the other information that you would possibly need or would like to get on it, I'd like you to go to our website so at least we get some use on it as well. It's www.hamvention.org. Go to that and go to the award winners, which are there in the first banner. You can get to it. It shows you how to get. So what we've got for the Amateur of the Year is Joe Taylor, K1JT.
Tell him a little bit about Joe.
Okay. Well, this is because he did all of this. Okay, Joe was first licensed as KN2ITP in 1954. And has since held calls Insignia K2ITP, and there's several different more on there. He was a professor of astronomy, I'll get my words right yet, at the University of Massachusetts from 1969 to 1981. And since then, professor of physics at Princeton University, serving there also as Dean of Facilities for 6 years. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1993 for discovery of the first orbiting pulsar. My words are not coming out right tonight. Give me a chance here. I'll slow down a little bit, gentlemen. Leading to observations that established the existence of gravitational waves. After retirement, he's been busy developing a whole lot in the amateur world. Now, and that will be one of the first awards we're going to be giving out. Now, the next one is Technical Achievement.
Before you go to that, any questions about Joe? You know him, Joe? You ever heard of him?
Yes. I've met him, and among the Nobel laureates that I've had the pleasure of actually interacting with, no one is as nice as Joe Taylor.
Yeah, when I called him on the phone and talked to him, he was just so down to earth. It's like, here's a guy that's minding space all the time, and he was down to earth with me. So it was really good. So anyway.
Okay, gentlemen, now go on to Technical Achievement Award is John S. Birmingham, W2XAB. And he's been involved in amateur repeaters for over 40 years, aerospace industry and Motorola, and currently is a senior lecturer at Clayton University and teaching computer networking. And John's also currently active in DMR in the community and is continuing as a contributing author in the ARRL 2016 handbook. Any more, like I said, there's going to be a little bit more on there on our website. If you can go ahead and go to that if you'd like. Any comments there, gentlemen? You know the person?
I don't know him personally. No, know the name.
Okay.
Tom, are you awake?
I'm awake. I'm trying to pull up your website.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. I'll give you a chance there, Tom.
Okay, I've got it here. If I can just find the right mouse to click on, and there we go. So, okay, I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get your.
No.
There's the amateur of the year. Now, and move on down. You still want to go down the page just a little bit, and that one there. There's John. There's John Birmingham there.
Oh, I don't think you're seeing the whole thing, but.
Well, pretty close to that. There we are. Then the next one here is Special Achievement Award. There's Stan Horpetz, WA1LOU. And he's in the cutting edge of technologies. Stan has authored 5 books and wrote over 1,200 pieces for the ARRL. And NTAPper while evangelizing the use of home computers, packet radio, APRS, digital signal processing, and software-defined radios, which of course is a big part of what we're getting into right now and going to be highlighted, of course, again in Dayton. Stan has sampled most every entry into the ham radio menu and served a slew of roles, including section manager for Connecticut. Presently, Stan is a director and secretary of Tapper and serves as editor of Tapper's newsletter.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a list. Quite a list.
As we'd say here in these here parts, that's high cotton.
Yes, it is. You betcha. And last category we got here is one we've added in recent years, is the Club of the Year. And this is Rocky Mountain Ham Radio, which is out in the Denver area. This organization is actually in the suburb where my brother-in-law and sister live out there, so I got to talk with one of the people there, and I believe the young lady I talked with actually has something to do with Hamvention. So she was kind of a double strike there. But they've got themselves a lot of stuff that they're doing, a lot of DMR private networking and things like that, in the Rocky Mountains from Cheyenne, Wyoming to Canyon City, Colorado, with expansion progress to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So these folks down there, when they come out, they're going to have a lot to talk about. They're involved in a lot of youth. They do, as most of these clubs are starting to get into mostly a lot of youth, and that's what we're looking for here. So we are really looking forward to see all of these award winners, and we're all going to have a part in giving those award winners to their awards themselves. And I'm thinking they're going to be just as good looking as that one that you've got in front of you. And thank you again for bringing that out, Tom. Go ahead.
All right. Well, it's a great banquet that you guys put on, and a lot of fun, and to get to meet these people and hear their stories. So it's a great deal. I'm glad you guys are doing that, and there's a lot of people out there that we need to keep looking for and recognize for their support of amateur radio.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. And in choosing these award winners, and I've been a part of this committee for years, it is not easy. And so we do have criteria that we go by. And we have some pretty critical people who know a lot about amateur radio, a lot about what's going on in amateur radio in the world. And we get a lot of help with that, a lot of emails and letters. And it's not an easy thing because we get so many good applications. Now, Club of the Year was really difficult because we're getting more and more and more of those Club of the Years because we instituted that, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. And the reason is that it's important that we recognize the club because club efforts are as important as us. We have DARA going on, Dayton Amateur Radio Association. Without a good group of people to work with, some of these hams that wouldn't have a foundational support to come up and do the things that they've done to get recognized for in the Technical Achievement Awards or Amateur of the Year. So we saw that as absolutely just as important. We want to also salute, Carol Perry. She's really been stepping up her game with. That isn't a game, but her approach with young people. You mentioned Martin Jew, and I do have to get this story out to you. That last year we had a young man come in from India, and came with the National Institute of Amateur Radio, and he has won so many awards already. You know, young man from 12 or I think he's 14 now, and Martin Jew was so impressed with him that he told him when he finished his high school education, he could come to Mississippi and help put him through school.
You know,
that was
not everybody, because Martin is so modest, and I've had the opportunity to become a very close friend of his. Not everybody realizes what he does for youth. He's been president of the local Boys and Girls Club, where we established an amateur radio station there, and you can imagine who, you know, toted the water, you know, in terms of donations and things. What not everybody knows, Michael, about the Jew family is that his predecessors, his first generation family coming from China, helped build the Transcontinental Railroad. And this Thursday night at Mississippi Public Broadcasting, I'll be Martin's guest at a private premiere of a new National Public Broadcasting documentary on those Chinese immigrants and where they landed and this kind of thing. And so Martin, I think, has been to China once. And the reason is he wanted his daughter, Deanna, to see the Great Wall. So people think Martin's from China. Well, his predecessors were from, but Martin, as he'll tell you very quickly, he calls himself a redneck from the Mississippi Delta. But what few people know, you're an exception, I'm an exception, Tom's an exception. All the philanthropy and good work to help others that Martin Jew does.
Yeah, I was just moved by that when my friends from India told me that. Wow, maybe I'll see Martin this year to I don't think he knows who I am, but I will make sure that I thank him too on behalf of our club. And it's just and on behalf of myself as a human being, I think it's wonderful. He's reaching out to help a very talented young man, to help him get into maybe a new experience in the world, and to be even a more productive person than maybe he could be in where he's at now. I don't know, but I am happy for that.
That is terrific. Let me compliment you on your difficult, but the choice you made for club. I have looked through their website very carefully, and they are going gangbusters. And I applaud you. I know you had a lot of good candidates, but I echo applause for the Rocky Mountain Group.
I tell you, Frank, one of the things that we do, and a few years ago, we were pretty good. Well, we've always been pretty good at authenticating and making sure everything we see on an application is really what it is. And we've gotten a lot more serious about that, even in the past. We get, it's like, hiring somebody for an important job. You want to make sure you got a lot of good references. So we look at the websites, because to me, if a club's got a good website, calendar on the website, a lot of things happening, pictures and things they're doing for the youth, it's impressive to us. I mean, you just don't make that stuff up. You just don't have a website out and do that. Will you turn that annoying thing off? Anyway, the man in the studio here, Anyway, we really appreciate the opportunity to get on here to chat with both of you. You got any questions for us about Hamvention before we sign off?
I'll make a recommendation just down the road. Launch a balloon and get some of your vendors to put tokens that whoever finds it can, get a little discount, and do it kind of like when the convention ends, because people are going home, and that would be a good promotion for tracking. Just my 2 cents worth.
Well, they usually do a balloon launch out there. I don't know if they're going to do one this year or not.
Yes, we are.
Weather permitting, we'll do it.
Yes, we will.
Oh, good. Great minds think alike then.
All right, well, guys, we want to really thank you for coming on again tonight. Anything else there, Michael? You look like you thought of something.
Talk about balloons. I think we're, like minds think alike. I guess that we're all airheads in one way or another.
Great comeback, Michael. Great comeback. Listen, you guys have been fabulous, and I just want to thank you for the institution of amateur radio in the U.S. Wouldn't be the same without you, and that's very sincere.
Hey, Frank, I think you're a great addition. I mean, Tom does a good job too, but you guys make a really good team at this, at this interviewing for amateur radio. I think it's really interesting, really fun. So,
one of the things, and I'll just mention it here, and we're running a little late, but that's okay because we have no end on our show here. Mitch is probably went to dinner and come back, but that's okay. Mitch has as much time as he needs. But what I wanted to say is, let me announce it again. A lot of people may not know it, but Michael is going to be doing some segments on Amateur Radio Roundtable in the near future. Based on international ham radio. He's got a lot of contacts and knows people, and he's going to be bringing in a lot of international ham radio into Amateur Radio Roundtable. And Michael, when do you think we're going to do that? Maybe once Hamvention gets cleared up there and you get some free time?
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I hope that, Frank, you join us in that, and as well as Tom, because it'll be a lot of fun, and to meet some of these people, off the radio, and to find out what they're doing. I mean, they're in talking about friends in the Middle East, friends down in South America. We might be able to connect with the people in Nepal again. We did that once on this show during that earthquake. We were able to Skype into Nepal, and that was pretty. I thought that was pretty exciting and pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So.
And I want to try to bring in some more DXpeditions live, like we did. We did Hurt Island here, and look at this cartoon that one of their guys. I think he's a professional cartoonist. Look at the penguins there, and look at the cap. I don't know if you probably can't tell who that is, but if you look at the cap, that's W5KUB in the front of the line there. These are people that worked Hurt Island. So I was honored to see my call letters on the cartoon there.
Hey, that's great. I mean, everybody was trying to work them. I know that. So, and our club, even we donate to the expeditions. We donated to that club, to that group as well. So we try to give to everybody in amateur radio.
Yeah, I think you guys gave a significant donation to them, and it's on their website. So. Okay, well, thanks, Jim, and thanks, Michael, and we'll be seeing you guys in about 4 weeks. We get really busy up there. We don't have time to look around. I know you guys are busy with this event, but if you do get some time, come by the booth every day and just say hello to everybody out there.
I will.
Can I give a thing I thought okay, I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead, Jim.
Okay. I'm in here, and
our audio's breaking up a little bit.
Okay, maybe I can.
I'm not able to understand you.
Okay, sorry.
Can you understand me?
Yes.
It's starting to get a little better.
He really has a hard time speaking. Go ahead and try it again.
I do. All I do, guys, is wear the black suit. That's it. I just wanted to mention another group up here. It's called the Thursday Night Group, but it's a group of gentlemen within that group that have made a display that they've had a lot of problems on Sundays for the prize drawing. Now, I don't know if you gentlemen have ever been there or not, but the audio problems have been taken care of this year. They've got an answer for it. But this group has made a 4-sided display that's going to use barcode technology, and going to have all the tickets that are drawn for the prizes on Sunday displayed up there, up high, 10 or 12 feet up above the prize booth, all during the prize drawing on Sunday. So that's another feature that we're going to have to help the people out, so we don't have all the hems and haws and the groans. And that, as I was just looking at the display here, it's in the final stages of being put together. So look for that as our final close down on Sundays, as we usually do. That'll be another feature go along with the DX station. So again, thank you for the extra minute.
All right.
I got to add one more thing.
Okay, go ahead, Michael.
I give Mr. Tiderman a pretty bad time about the suit and things, but he's doing that. He is really one of the best general chairmen that I've been around at Hamvention. He's doing a super job, works with people well, and it's a very difficult job. I tried it a few years back. So this is his last Hamvention to be general chair, and he is doing a superb job. So I
Well,
had
it's
to
a
say that.
big job. Yeah, big job. All right, I'm going to say 73 to you guys. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We really appreciate it. And
All right.
70, guys.
we'll see you guys later. Thank you, and we'll see you in
Or
about
as
4 weeks.
Say, we like to say 73, y'all.
Y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks again, gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Let's see here. Let me see if I can get our next guest on here real quick. All I have to do is find him.
Well, I'm sure Mitch is out there somewhere.
Yeah. I think I've clicked on the wrong button. What do you think about that?
It happens.
Well, I'm afraid that I might lose you. Let me see what's going to happen here.
All right.
Oh boy, I didn't mean to do this. Okay, here we go.
Please stand by.
Yeah, we're gonna have to stand by. There we go. Okay, now I got you back. Now let me add. Let me get Mitch in here. Okay. And I've got quite a long list. Here we go. We're getting close, folks. It's ringing. I think it's ringing. But we're not getting an answer. So let's try this again. Said call failed. I'm gonna try again. All right. So you're still with us, right, Frank?
You bet. You bet.
Yep. Well, I think. Well, let's see. What's going on here? Mitch, are you there?
You might need to text him and let him know that.
Well, I'm sure he's watching. Mitch, Mitch, are you there? I'm not hearing. I think we've got a connection with him. He's smiling, but he's not moving.
Okay, he may need to accept the call.
Well, we tested earlier, but
okay.
All right, Mitch. I'll tell you what.
Yes.
Are you there? You're there,
Hey.
Mitch. You can hear me.
Okay, there's the video.
Perfect. There we are, Mitch. We got you. I don't know. You were incognito there for a few minutes.
We were afraid you were the other man in black who passed away, Johnny Cash.
Well, Mitch, I apologize a little bit. We ran a little bit later than we told you, so I hope it's not past your bedtime there.
No. I run on Alaskan Standard Time for some
do you?
reason.
Okay. Well, let me introduce you here. We have with us Mitch Stern. And Mitch, your call is W1SJ, right? Did I get that right?
That's good.
Okay.
Yes.
And Mitch is he's a radio engineer, and Mitch is also teaches a lot of ham radio classes and tries to bring new hams into our hobby. And he's going to talk tonight about I think some classes that he's going to teach at Dayton Hamvention. Also going to talk about recruiting new hams and just some different ideas and things. So, Mitch, I don't know if you've met Frank there, but that's Frank Howell. He's our co-host. Frank's down in Mississippi. So, Mitch, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, and you just pick it up where you can, and then we'll get this thing rolling.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. I've been licensed a long time, something like 47 years. I don't know. I lost track. Yeah, 47 years, which makes me kind of an old timer. And I'll tell you, my first love is contesting. Actually, that's what I love to do the best. But when I'm not contesting, I do other things in amateur radio, such as teach amateur radio. And of course, I have a reason for doing this. I figure if I make more hams, there are more hams for me to talk to in the contest, and I'll get a higher score. That's the whole idea behind this. And this started back, I started teaching in 1982. A friend of mine, I was pretty young then, a friend of mine said, hey, let's teach a class. And I go, oh, I've never taught a class before. Okay, let's teach a class. That's something new. So we taught a couple of classes, but then this gentleman, he turned 65. And you know what the law is. When you turn 65, you must go directly to Florida and do not pass go. And he did. And that left me, and I kept teaching the class for all these years since then. So that's kind of how that got started. Nothing really very exciting. And in those years, we were teaching the novice license. And if you remember how this used to work, the novice license, you had to learn some theory, and you had to learn 5 words per minute Morse code. And that kind of scared people off, but we tried our best to get people in there. For the first night of class, about 35 people would show up, and it was really great, and we're lucky if we graduated 5. And I used to call people, why did you stop going to class? And they would always say, there was Wednesday nights I had the class, they'd always say, oh, I found a job. And this was so prevalent that I started a new division of the company called the SJ Employment Agency. I said, well, you take this ham class and you will find a job. Well, what does that have to do with anything else? I says, I don't know, but it just seems to work. So around the early 90s, I decided that I wasn't really happy with the pass rates I was getting from teaching the class, and I was looking into doing something different. And I spoke with Gordon West out at Dayton several times, and he was doing a class that went over the weekend. And I said, I wonder if that's something that I could bring to the East Coast. So I looked at some of the things he was doing, threw in some ideas that I had, and came up with what I used to call the weekend amateur radio course. It was a 2-day course because it was the novice portion of it that had to be done on Saturday and the technician portion on Sunday. It was 2 exam elements you had to take to get technician back then. And eventually I found that I was getting very high pass rates, well into the 90%, and kept expanding on the program since then. I started offering classes in different cities around the East Coast, wherever I can travel to. And so that's what I do today. The standard class I do is a 1-day technician. You come in at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we lock the door and don't let you leave until you pass your technician, usually by about 5:30 that same day. And it seems to work. And then that is the basic idea. So about 7 years ago, I decided to see if I could start doing this at Hamfests. And everyone told me, this is nuts. You can't do a class at a Hamfest or a convention. It's too noisy. This is going on. That's going on. People won't want to do anything. And when people told me it was nuts, I said, okay, I'm in. I like doing crazy things. And so it took a couple of years until we got things organized at Dayton, the logistics, where we're going to have it, how we're going to have it, how we're going to get the students tested. There was a lot to be worked out because it was never really done before. And that's culminated in the first class I did there, which was done actually in the back corner of the East Hall. It was actually in the actual exhibitor area. If you're familiar with Dayton, that's where they have that big Luso tower there staying out. It was in that corner there. We just had a curtain roped off the place. It was a bit loud. But again, remember I mentioned I'm a contester, and I can talk at loud levels of volume for long periods of time, so it didn't bother me none. And it worked out. And then since then, we actually do it in the hockey locker room in the back of our arena. It's a small little room, but it seems to work for our purposes. And we generally put 20 people in there and make them technicians inside of the day. And then at 4 o'clock we finish up. We put them on the bus to the exam session at the church, and they're new hams. And then I have them come back on Sunday to buy equipment. So that's the whole thing in a nutshell about how the Hamvention class works. It's something that has been going pretty well. We already have a bunch of enrollments in the class. Now, the way that the class works is that these people say, how can you teach somebody all that stuff in one day? Well, the trick is you don't teach them all the stuff in one day. They have to learn the stuff ahead of time. And that comes to something I call the online class. The online class is a website that I build and I run, where you go to the site and the various subjects and things that you need to learn about amateur radio are spelled out on slides. So I try to break it down into as few words as possible, because I know people don't want to read a lot of stuff. This is what I hear from students all the time. It's too much to read, too much work. So it's broken down into slides, and the slides basically are the questions. The questions are turned into answers. It's kind of like Jeopardy. Instead of the questions, I have the answers. And then I narrate the slide. So you put your computer on, the speakers on, and you hear my voice, and I'm actually telling you about the different things, about Ohm's law, about resistors, about the rules and regulations, all these things, and explaining it in short bursts of detail. And the good thing about that is, for the people who don't like to read a lot, you get to listen to this. So you see it on the screen and you hear it. And then there is a portion where I actually have the review questions, where the student then is directed to these questions, and they click on an answer and it says either correct or no, that wasn't it. This is the correct answer. And then it sends them back to the slide where the information was introduced, so they can review it again. Now, I tell the students, you got to go through those review questions. Some do and some don't. And actually, I know the ones who don't. We figure that out in class pretty quickly. And then there are practice quizzes in the online course. So the reason why I do the practice quiz is because people get nervous. Oh my God, I got to pick a correct answer. What am I going to do? So we make it like a little miniature test online. And then when they hit submit, it gets emailed to me, and I look at it and see how many they got wrong, and we discuss the wrong answers. What that allows me to do is to see if anyone's having some problems or struggling, and then I can direct them to do certain types of study things so that we can deal with that before class date. One of the problems in a teaching situation is you have learners of various abilities. Some learn very fast. Some people are so fast that I can just say it and they remember it. That's great. It makes my job easy.
So, Mitch, let me ask a question here. You were talking about, it seemed like that you said they were clicking on answers. Do you provide computer terminals for all the students in there? How do you do that? And about how many students do you have?
No, the computer is done at home. Okay. In class, it's just a regular class. So at home, you go to a website, hamclass.net, and that's where you do everything online. So you do it on your own computer at home, in your leisure, to your own schedule. That's what you do. In class, there are no computers. I'm a very kind of low-tech teacher. We don't have any computer terminals. We don't have any big screens. I don't use PowerPoint, because I've found over the years I'd rather have students paying attention to what I'm saying. I said, don't look down at your notes. The story is right here, right in front of you. Just see what I'm doing. And also, as any teacher will tell you, you scan the room. You look into everyone's eyes and you see if they're getting it or not. And I can usually tell if people are understanding it or there's this fuzzy cloud hanging over their head. And so that allows me to expand on certain topics they're not getting or ask questions. You understand that, explain this to me. So the class itself is old-fashioned, but what we do in the class is go over everything again. It's not a review session. It's a full class, but hopefully it's a review for everyone because they have already gone over everything. The size of the Dayton class, we're limited to 20 people. That's the size of the room. One year I had 23 people enrolled, and I had some plans and some thoughts of sneaking in there at midnight and pushing the walls back a little bit. But fortunately, I shouldn't say fortunately, but some of the students were no-shows. They couldn't find the building. I don't know what happened to them. So we actually were able to fit everyone in the room.
All right.
Frank, here, let me interject a question. I'm a retired college professor, so let me just echo what you just said in terms of pedagogy. I spent 35 years or more reading those same faces, and I concur with you totally. If you don't engage and get a little bit of that interpersonal magic going, all you're doing is just talking. And so I applaud your style.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean that's really the crux of teaching, and the quizzes. And I also give practice quizzes in class too, where I hand them a piece of paper. You got to write down the answers. I mean, sometimes we find the simplest things are a problem, like 35 questions. There better be 35 answers, and we have people always handing in the papers, the practice quizzes, with blank answers, and I go, you can't do that. And in fact, I say, if you do that, I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to make it unpleasant. I really don't want you to leave anything blank, because if you do that, you're going to do that on the real test. And I'm also a volunteer examiner, and I can't tell you how many times we've had failing papers because somebody left an answer blank. That was their 10th wrong response, and we couldn't pass them on that. So it's simple things like that. The other simple thing that we find all the time on a multiple choice test is everyone thinks they get extra points for being the first person to hand their paper in. And they do this speed reading thing. And I have to really enforce that they read the question slowly and thoughtfully, and then repeat it back to themselves and pose the answer before going to the distractors. Because what happens is people will read the part of the question, and the thing that modifies that question, that changes it from one thing to another thing, that may be a word further in the question, and they fail to read that. So we have people in the class who know the stuff, but they just are poor at taking a multiple choice test. So that's part of the thing I teach also, is how to read the test. A problem that I run into, which is something I inherit, is that there are people who can't read. There is quite a bit of illiteracy in the fact that they'll read but read poorly, and they don't get the reading comprehension right. And I know this because they'll get questions wrong on the practice tests, and then I ask them about it, and they understand everything. They explain it to me perfectly, but they can't seem to read the question. Unfortunately, that's something I can't fix. We try and work around it. What I tell them is, if that's the thing, make sure you go over those questions over and over again so that you're used to seeing those words and you know what that means. So in that case, they're not really practicing ham radio. They're just practicing reading the questions. It's an unfortunate thing, but of course the methodology we use is that the people who take the test have to be able to read the test questions, which I'm told is written at an 8th grade level. If they can't do that efficiently, then the methodology we use to test them is no good, and we can't test them. They end up failing, and that's unfortunate. Now, some people say, well, why don't you read them the questions, which is certainly an option for a volunteer examiner. But I'll tell you what, if you read me the test and had me pick between A, B, and C, D, I don't think I could pass that. I would forget what you said for A when you got to B. So that's not really a good way of taking a test either. We do it with blind candidates, and they're pretty good at it. But for most people, that's a tough way to take a test.
So Mitch, now, how long does this process last? I know people need to go online and do some studying first before they come to Dayton for your class. Now, is this about the timing right now that people will start signing up for your course, and or do you already have everybody signed up for Dayton, or do you have openings right now?
Yes, we have openings right now. Ideally, I'd like to have students enrolled 4 weeks out. That's the ideal world. Then there's the real world, and the real world is they will enroll in the course sometimes a week out. With the online course, I tell people that you need to allow at least 10 hours of study. That's 10 hours of going over the lessons and doing the practice questions and doing the practice quizzes. 10 hours. So if you enroll the week before, That means you have to work on this course 2 to 2.5 hours a day. Some people can do that. Most can't because they have to work or they do other things. So if they enroll, let's say 2 weeks out, then they're spending an hour a day, which is a lot, but easily doable. But if they're doing it 4 weeks out, then maybe it's a half-hour day. And of course, people skip days and whatever. The problem I see is people will enroll in the course and then they won't do anything with the online course. They'll just kind of let it age like fine wine. And then about a week before the actual class, they'll wake up and start doing the lessons. Well, then the problem is when they submit the quizzes, where am I the week before Hamvention? Well, by Tuesday night, I'm traveling. So, yeah, I can answer the emails from the hotel room, but it's kind of rather limited. So I like to get people kind of working on it. And if they have problems with actually learning the material, if they're doing this early enough, I can suggest, okay, look at this, study this, look at that. And usually I can correct some poor study habits. One of the big problems is a lot of people do not know how to study properly. And I teach college courses too. I see this across the board in college courses. My wife teaches college courses. She sees it, is that the study skills are not there anymore. A lot of people just want to pick up the book and try to memorize all the questions, which that is one way of doing it, but only for certain people who really have the mind to memorize 435 questions, I believe it is, for the tech. And I tell those people, if you're that good, and you can do that, and there's certainly a lot of people can do that, if you can do that, why are you wasting your time with a ham radio test? Go out to Vegas and count cards, and then you can win a lot of money. But just don't go back to the casinos after you do that. So I don't like people to memorize questions. We do the full teaching, and I see a lot of courses online and elsewhere where they say, yeah, just memorize this stuff. You don't need to know anything. And as an educator, that just drives me nuts, because then we have a bunch of people who are licensed, and then they don't know the first thing of what to do when they get on the air, where at least if you've been studying this stuff, you have a pretty good idea, or at least if you don't know, you know what questions to ask. And I mean, that's the whole thing about education. You're not going to learn every little detail, but you're going to learn enough to kind of be able to pose the question so that you can find more information. And I think that's the difference in this course, is that we first and foremost, we try to make sure that everyone learns what's going on. I try to use each question as a jumping off point to explain a certain part of the rules or a certain part of the theory.
But aren't you expanding who you're looking for out there? You're just not totally looking for the techie type guy that wants to get his ham license. I think you also specialize in trying to bring in the family, the spouses, and other people, don't you?
Well, yes. The techie type guys, first of all, most of them will just pick up the book, look at it for about 20 minutes, and they'll memorize it or whatever, because they're pretty good at that. I do get techie guys in the class. I'm not looking for anyone in particular in the course, and in my regular courses, I get people basically from housewives to nuclear engineers in the class. And of course, the mission is to try to make the course interesting for everybody. If I speak to the level of the engineer, then the housewife will be lost, and then if I speak to the housewife, the nuclear engineer will be bored to death. So you have to find that middle road, which of course it's a thing that most teachers have to deal with. The Hamvention course and other courses I do at conventions is based on this premise that in any convention, ham radio convention, about 20 to 25% of the people going are not licensed. They are either a spouse or family members of people who do go, or I run into a lot of people in the flea market who are not hams. They should be, but they're not. They love buying stuff. They like tinkering, building things, and doing all that stuff, and they don't have a ham license. And these are the type of people I'm trying to reach out to in Hamvention. I mean, if they're going along with their ham radio family member and they're already there, they might as well spend some quality time on Saturday becoming a ham radio operator, and then they can be closer to the hobby, get involved in all these things that other family members are doing. And that's the basic idea. Now, that being said, the students who I get are across the board. They come from everywhere. I get them from all over. I get them from all over the country, actually. Most come from usually within 200 miles of Dayton, but I've had people from Florida, California, New York, all these places. So it's really no one person. And I get spouses, I get kids, and I even get people in the Dayton area who have no connection to ham radio whatsoever, but they're just interested. In fact, one fellow I had some years back, I think it was his grandfather was one of the chairmen of the early Dayton Hamvention. So there was a connection there. He knew about ham radio from his early days, and he finally acted on getting his license.
So how many hours each day? You've got all day Saturday and Sunday, I guess?
No, it's just Saturday. Essentially,
okay.
If you're a student, you come in at 9 o'clock, and we start right off at 9 o'clock. There's a break for lunch. As I tell people, we'll have a break for lunch if you're good. There's a break for lunch, and then we finish up at 4 o'clock. So the class, if you subtract the hour for lunch, it's about 6 hours in class. So it goes pretty quickly. At least for me, it does. And then at 4 o'clock, we have to get them tested. Now, they've moved the volunteer exam sessions off-site. They no longer do them at the Hara Arena. They do them at this church down the road. So we march everyone up to the front of Hara Arena, put them on the shuttle buses, and they go and they take the test. And then I get the room cleaned up. I go down there and join them, and we have the celebrations after everyone passes.
That's cool. Well, Frank, what do you think about it, Frank?
Well, I'm listening, and I think Mitch has got an approach that he has probably fine-tuned over a number of years, and it works well. I mean, anytime you get 90% pass rate, something's working, and it's not just little Albert Einstein's walking through the door, because he's reaching a broad array. I do some instruction, more of the day-long classes with. I'm president of a repeater association in Mississippi called the Magnolia Intertie, and my fellow officers and board members. Sometimes we teach courses at the Mississippi Hospital Association, because after Hurricane Katrina, it's been a big push in getting somebody in every hospital licensed as a ham, and we get money and put stations there. So I've done a bit of that, and I'm a certified instructor with ARL and so forth. So having been a college professor, and Mitch, you teach college too, you know the changes over time, and I think you hit the nail on the head. The study skills sets that we might have just assumed 10 to 15 years ago are far fewer. I mean, I won't say that no one has it, but it's just far fewer of those students, and they stick out like kind of a sore thumb in a good way. Let me raise a couple of little things, because on places like eHam and other chaotic websites, say that with all due respect, you'll have people that say, I walked to school 8 miles in the snow one way, and so on and so on. You can't become a good ham with a day-long class. And my pitch, and Mitch, I'd appreciate your kind of reaction to this. My pitch is that, okay, but you don't make a good driver of an automobile by preparing them to take the driver's exam that the government requires either. There is a yin and yang of, you got to learn the rules, you got to learn the regulations, you got to learn what the signs mean, and you got to learn how to operate a vehicle safely. But you become a good driver by driving, and some states have learner's permits and so on and so on. What my club that I'm active in is launched, because we do quite a number of VE tests every month, is an Elmer night, where we try to take those people who just get their tech license especially, and continue to work with them and to do things, whether it's show and tell or one-on-one or that kind of thing, to try to help grow them. But anyway, does that metaphor ring any bells, Mitch, with you? Well,
yes, it does. There's a certain amateur organization in Connecticut, I believe, and they told me that Oh, yes, you cannot learn ham radio in a day. You get lesser amateur operators. They said that same thing you did. And so I responded to this person. I said, you ever fly on an airplane? They go, oh, of course. I said, would it bother you to know that the guy up front in the cockpit driving the airplane took a weekend course, much like the course I'm teaching, before they actually put him in the plane? And they didn't know that. I mean, it was kind of thing. So yes, I get this bad rap that in fact, even the students, when they want to enroll, I want to enroll in your cram course. I says, it's not a cram course. Well, it can be if you want to be, if you wait for the last minute to study. It's not a cram course. It's the real thing. And instead of running a 10-week course where I teach something and then we wait 7 days for you to forget what I taught and then do it all over again, we do it in 1 day. And someone will say, well, people won't retain that information. I said, well, they will retain it either way they retain it. I mean, any course you will not retain unless you put that knowledge to use. And you mentioned that you're training people to out of Katrina, and I train a lot of people to be operators in hospitals and places like that where they put ham radios.
Right.
And one thing I say to them is that your education has, and this is when they've graduated, your education has just begun. You should be getting on that radio at least every week. I have a lot of people who take the course who want to sail. They're boaters, you know, they sail offshore. And of course, if you're sailing offshore, you really want ham radio because that is the best means to talk to other people. Marine radio is really more for talking to other boats. And I tell them, I says, you know, it'll be like maybe several months before they go sailing. I says, you want to turn that ham radio on every single day and use it and make contacts. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're in the middle of a storm and the mast is down and the boat is taking on water, that is a hell of a time to go looking for the instruction book. I said, you ought to know instinctively what you need to be doing. An example, I was traveling with my wife, and we were in New York City, and we had the classic car broke down on the expressway at 4:30 in the center lane. And we were like, we were in a bad situation. We couldn't get out of the car. I mean, this is like a crowded highway. You couldn't get out of the car, you get run over. And I figured it was only a matter of time before someone would rear end us. And this is before we had dual band radios. I had two radios. I had a VHF and a UHF radio. And simultaneously, I was on one radio calling my parents, saying we're going to be late, and on the other radio calling someone, calling a tow truck or someone on the local club to get a tow wagon out to get us simultaneously. And my wife said, "How do you know to do that?" I says, "I do that in contests all the time. It's natural." I says, "If I'm having a single conversation, it seems boring to me." So I mean that kind of training, that's really what you want to do. You really want to become a really good operator, because if lives matter, if you're in a Katrina situation with no infrastructure, and you need to make something happen, and you don't know what you're doing with communications, you don't know what frequencies to use, what repeaters, how to do it, how to phrase your message, or how even to talk and listen. Time is of the essence, and people could die from that in that scenario. So that's really important. Now, that being said, nobody listens to me. They get the license and it sits somewhere until the next disaster happens.
Well, that's also true. We probably have few new drivers. Imagine the teenager who gets his or her driver's license and says, I think I'll wait 5 or 6 months before I want to drive. That never happens. So drivers are different. They want that mobility. One of the things that we're doing is that we have a health network, and they have monthly nets. We're trying to work them up to weekly nets so we can kind of get them engaged. But, we've had things since Katrina in a small town, not spelled like Louisville, Kentucky, but pronounced Louisville, Mississippi. And a tornado hit that hospital. And ICU patients were out on the ground on gurneys. And all cell communications were down. And we had Lifeline helicopters coming in. And you know how they were able to contact the Lifeline choppers? They took a pillowcase and waved it. Well, that, you have a completely sold audience at that point and they're rebuilding that hospital. So we're trying to do some of those things because, as you well know from what you said, you'll have some supervisors say, hey, Mitch, you're going to go get your ham license because I want you doing this. And you go, oh, geez, another thing, And so you get people who are a little recalcitrant, not terribly motivated, but all that's in the teaching. And to try to get them enthused and then to give them follow-up opportunities so they can use the radio. And you're oh so right. We've programmed their HTs for them. And I think what our club is about to do is, in exchange for a new licensee, when they get their exam passed, the new tech anyway, that if they join our club for a year, we have $18 dues. We'll give them one of the $20 bell phones already programmed. So, we're kind of capturing new members, but at the same time, it's worth it for us to kind of give away those dues to get a member. And then they walk out of the session with the ability to listen. And as soon as their license is in the database, they can talk. Because a lot of hams, as you mentioned the last day or Sunday, you get them over to buy their equipment. If hams walk out of a VE session and they're just kind of out in the cold, so to speak, and they don't get around to buying equipment, they've got the confusion, just like when we buy cars, what model am I going to get? What do I need? And so on and so on. So I think your package is one that takes both ends, the incoming of the interest, going through the system, getting a 90% probability on passing, and then helping them with equipment, and then by that, getting them linked into amateur radio. And that's where I think maybe we fail a little bit, is by licensing them and kind of cutting them loose without some additional hooks in them. At least, as a sociologist, that's my take on how to get them engaged. So it sounds like you've got a great package, Mitch. And, I was assistant director for Delta Division from ARL, and I've gotten some, on some different matters, but I've gotten some reactions from some people in Newington that, may have been, City Hall, maybe talk, as opposed to out in the city or the county. So it does happen, particularly when you're at the main site. You can get a little insulated, shall we say?
So let me let me jump in here real quick and just I've been looking at the chat room. You got a lot of people here, Mitch, that know you and have been making good comments about you there. Let's see. One person, Brian, N8UDQ, mentions that I think that when you guys sent them off for that testing on Sunday, that they actually have some volunteer escorts that go with them, probably to help take care of them there. Also, Jill, let's see, Jill, and I'm trying to find her comment here. KD8 QGA Jill up in Ohio. She said she took your class. I don't know if you remember her or not. But a lot of good comments in here. So, Mitch, do you want to tell people here how to sign up if they're interested to join you guys in Dayton this year?
Well, the easiest way, instead of giving, I have my own URL for it, which is pretty long, but if you go, I think it's still there. If you go to the Hamvention website, go right down to the bottom there, and it talks about the ham class, and you click on that link, and it'll bring you to my site, where it'll actually talk about the nuts and bolts about the class. And then about halfway down the page, you can enroll. You can pay either with PayPal or credit card, or call me up and do that. Or some people want to discuss it, and feel good about it. I'm kind of like that too. I don't like buying things right off the web sometimes. So I have that whenever I'm around. My wife always says, you spend so much time talking on the phone to these people and they didn't enroll. I says, yeah, you know what? They didn't enroll, but I still enjoyed the conversation. Oh, yeah. It's just like ham radio. I mean, so it's ham radio without the radio, just using the phone. I mean, you're talking about stuff you enjoy doing. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, the enrollments will come eventually.
Well, Jill says she took the class in 2011. So you've been doing, how many years have you been doing this?
I think this would be the 7th year, actually.
Okay.
It's been a while. And so 20 hams each year. So there's a bunch from the Hamvention class. I think total in the weekend courses, I think I have a counter on my site, but it's something I think close to 1,100 new licensed hams. That's not the people who took the course. It's actually people who actually got licensed. So I actually did some figuring out. I found some scary numbers that I do these mostly in New Hampshire and in Vermont. I live in Vermont. I do a lot of them in New Hampshire. And I did a quick count, and I came up with something like 10% of the hams in Vermont and New Hampshire, which are small states, but 10% of the hams have been through one of my courses at some point or another.
Oh, that's great.
I found I didn't know how to feel about it. Like, okay, so what? As long as they get on the air. But, you bring up an interesting point about getting people active. And it's something I know. I mean, I'll sometimes will call a student years later to try to recruit them to do a public service event. And they'll say, oh, I don't have a radio. I says, well, how come you don't have a radio? Well, I've been waiting for a good deal. I says, I think you would have found the deal within 5 years. But a lot of people don't get equipment. So my joke is that these people take the ham class to meet women. That's the only thing I can come up with. So it befuddles me, because when I got my novice license way back, it was in the 60s. That was when I took the test before a local ham, and then they sent it in, and you waited, and you waited, and you waited. It was about 4 weeks before the license came in the mail, and I was sure that the mailman absconded with my license. And I had the radio all set, ready to go, and the moment I ripped that thing out of the mailbox, I was CQing. Not that I worked anyone, but I was CQing. I was going on there. I was going crazy for about a week. And I always tell people, I said, wild horses couldn't keep me from the radio. I don't understand why people don't operate. And we see it in our club. We have a very active club. We set up a station at our Hamfest. We set up a station at our picnic. We have field day, and we try to get people on the radio. And they'll begrudgingly walk to the radio, but they have this look like they're being walked to the gas chamber. And I have to remind them, this is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy this. And they're nervous about it. And I says, sit down on the radio. Don't worry about it. I will help you. And I can put anyone on my radio. I have a pretty big station. And, you yell Vermont on the air, you get a pretty quick pile up. And I says, sit down. And they say, oh, now what do I do? I says, pick out any letter that you can hear and say, okay, the station with a 2 echo in it, come back. And I says, then you'll get some of the guys to be quiet, and you just keep saying repeat. One or two things going to happen. Either you're going to get the guy's call sign, or he's going to give up in disgust and go somewhere else. But eventually you'll work the guy. And so I teach people to operate. That's one of my other training things, is actually teaching people to operate. I teach them to make the call, to talk properly. You have to project your voice, not kind of whisper it, and also log the contact on the computer at the same time. This is a classic walk and chew gum at the same time thing. And again, I have a vested interest in this. Our club is very active in field day, and we have to keep putting operators in the seats. You don't want to leave that station with no operator in it. We have to put people in there. So we want people at least get a little bit of training, a little taste of it, so they can go on and operate. And once we get them to field day, that's where they seem to get the bite, the bug bite. They want to get on. They want to make contacts. So we try to recruit people to field day, which of course a lot of clubs do, but that's one of the things. The other thing I'm going to be doing in a few weeks, I'm the communications coordinator for the Vermont City Marathon, which is in Burlington, Vermont, where I live. And again, we try to put people on the streets, take your HT, or we give them an HT. This is what you say. We give them the whole training, the whole thing. They get a T-shirt and whatever. But at the end of the day, they're getting ham radio experience. And we hope that they really love it, and they'll come back again. But yeah, getting, it's getting the horse to water. I'm very good at that. But getting him to drink, I still haven't figured out how to do that with the funnel yet.
All right.
Well, listen, Tom, let me interject.
Yeah, go ahead.
His website is hamclass.net, hamclass.net. And he has basically the information that you would get after you link from Hamvention. And it's a very well put together site. Also has a class demo, so you can kind of try it before you buy it and get a little test drive. And he's done a great job with this. So hamclass.net would lead folks who are interested there. And it's got the Dayton dates as well as the Manchester, New Hampshire, and Burlington, Vermont. So very well done.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to probably go ahead and wrap this one up. Mitch, we've talked about a lot of things, and we're going to be looking forward to seeing you at Hamvention this year. Be sure and come by our booth. I know you'll have some spare time. I know you like to look around, but come by our booth and visit with us a little while, and we'll put you back on again here live in our Hamvention studio, and you can talk more about what your results were that weekend. So be sure and come by and see us. And
now, Tom, can you take the camera to the class? I remember you said something. You have trouble with coverage in the arena.
Yeah, the internet connection is the issue. We have a 5 gig link that we use back to our booth. It's pretty powerful, and it covers about 75% of what there's 3 or 4 buildings there, not the arena, but the other 3 or 4 buildings that are all kind of tied together. We can cover about 75% of that. So there's some areas there that we just can't do it, but we'll try to get by there. And hey, if we can't get in there, maybe what we can do is just bring the recorder in there, get a couple 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of a clip, and then we run that back to the booth and we play it live, so it would be almost real time.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, people see what it's about. Some people have this thing. I torture people in there and everything. And there's stories that go around and whatever. But that would be nice.
Kind of an introductory Wolfhound class.
Oh yeah, we do that. Well, I start off. I like to do 2 things which are kind of they're not weird. That's standard things. Usually right before lunch, as people are dozing off, that's when I show them how capacitors work.
Oh yeah.
And I charge up this big capacitor. Hey, you want to hold this for me? And every now and then I get takers that no, you really don't want to do it, and I zap it, and they will jump back about 6 feet, and that settles the problem with sleeping in class. And then towards the end of the class, when they keep asking me what happens if I don't pass, I get the pickle air and put the 120 volts to it and make it blaze away, and they stop asking questions about that point and focus on the task at hand.
So you're using the old torture technique there to make them get in line there. Well,
you need to have a little bit of fear, not a lot, just a little bit that they need to focus on what's happening. Now, another thing that I do at Hamvention, I also do a forum, which is also an education thing. For years, I've been looking at ways to do ham radio graduate school, teaching people who are already licensed just various techniques, and I haven't really come up with the right way to do it yet. So, failing that, what I do is I give forums at various Hamfests and conventions, and the one I do at Hamvention is Techniques of the Best Operators. It's based on the fact that as a contester, I make a lot of contacts, something like 7,000-8,000 Qs every year, just working contests. In the year 2014 with the ARL Centennial, I think it was more like about 50,000 Qs. And I figure that I've probably made, 250,000 QSOs or something going way back. So, I kind of have a pretty good idea what works and what doesn't work. And so I kind of share that, particularly when I'm on the air and I'm talking to people on the air and they don't give phonetics, and I have to beg them for phonetics because they don't say them, or I go back to them, then they don't go back to me. Just things you hear on the air, which are just crazy. So it's been my submission to kind of bring up the operating skills a little bit. I added a section on operating in DXpeditions, which of course anyone who tried to work Heard Island or any really big D expedition, you know that operating skill can be raised just a bit. We would all benefit from that. So I usually do that on Friday. So look at the program, and we'd be glad to have everyone for that too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that would be interesting probably for a lot of people too that already have the license. All right, well, look, Mitch, we're going to go to our next segment of the show. We're running late tonight, but I think we covered about everything that we were hoping to cover. Our next section for our show here is called Hangout, and that's where we bring in up to 10 people with cameras onto the show. And if you've got Google Hangout and you want to join us, you can connect in, and we'll send a link out in the chat room. If Kathy's listening, maybe she can send a link out in the chat room. I'm operating in the studio by myself this week. Kathy is over at our home in North Carolina this week. But we're going to go to our Hangout portion, and we have a lot of fun there. We'll be talking about some of the things you've talked about, and people will ask questions, and all different type subjects will come up. And it's just a very informal setting around the coffee table session that we do next. A lot of the guys like you on the East Coast, it's getting late for them, and they start going to bed about now. So we want to really thank you again, Mitch, for telling us all about this tonight, and we do hope to see you in Dayton here in 4 weeks.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Thanks, Frank, and we've had fun doing this.
7-3, Mitch.
7-3.
All right. Tom, listen, I'm going to have to beg off. 4:30 comes early, and the cows have to be milked. And, so I'm going to ring off. I will catch Hangout one of these evenings, okay?
Okay. So 4:30 comes early, and you're going to milk the cows.
Something like that.
Okay. I got you. Okay. 73 to you. Thanks 73. For joining us tonight, Frank. Glad to have you back.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So let's see. Let's see if I can get us on Hangout real quick, see if anybody's there. Got to press 3 or 4 buttons here. I don't know. Okay, yeah, Kathy put the Hangout in the chat room if you want to join us. I think this is it here.
It's good to do. It's good to be able to be in here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Tom. First time camera and microphone working. First shot.
I noticed that you're working. Everything's working there.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking about how this never works right the first time.
Let's see if I can bring the picture up a little bit. You're kind of low. Let me see if I can do something here. Hang on. If I can find the right buttons.
Well?
Oh, your audio's fine.
Let's see.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, Doc. How you doing?
Hey, Doc.
There's old Jeff. He stayed up late for us.
Yeah.
All right. So Jeff's in there. And
generally one night a month on Tuesdays. I have to go to work real early on Wednesdays, so I need to jump out usually around 10 o'clock. So
well, how many hours of sleep do you need a night?
I like to get 7. I mean, I don't function well.
Let's ask Doc. Let's ask Doc would it hurt him if he only got like 3 hours tonight?
It would hurt me.
It hurt me. I used to be able to go on a lot less, but I think about 6 is my minimum now.
Oh man, well Einstein and Jeff, if you got to go, I'll say 73
no,
to you.
I'm good tonight. I can hang for another 20 minutes at least.
Okay, oh man, hey Doc, I still got this. My cold has turned in kind of to a cough now. My symptoms are changing, man.
You'll be over it by Dayton.
Well, I hope so, man. All right, I hope so.
He'll check you out at Dayton.
Well, if I'm not better by Dayton, I'm gonna put. I'm gonna give Doc. You got the You got the camera and the mic from 8 till 12, and Jeff, you got it from 1 to 4.
Oh.
All right, looks like Jerry's in
I
here.
hear a harmonic.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna. I don't know what I was gonna say. Anyway, so our show was kind of about Dayton night. We're kind of all gearing up to get up here to Dayton, and we're gonna have some fun.
Can't wait.
You gonna make it to Dayton, Jerry?
I don't know if Jerry's hearing us. Let me ask Jerry. Jerry.
Mike's having problems again connecting.
I don't know.
Are you guys hearing me? Good night.
Yeah, hey, I hear you now.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys beautifully.
That's interesting. There's no names over the pictures tonight. I think I had it
Is that
last
the
week.
old version that does that? I was trying to figure out how to get to that.
Yeah,
Well,
the legacy version
I think
does that.
I think you go up there to the top, those 3 little dots, and you can tell it to put the old version in or something. I don't know. It seems like they change it every week on you.
Used to be able to do that.
All right, Robert, 73. I'll say goodbye to Robert at WBCQ. All right, so let me turn the audio off. He's turning the transmitter off, but let me turn the audio off. Going out to the shortwave.
There it is,
All right.
original.
All right, we're off now. I'll spell Robert with 2 B's. That's all right.
All right, I got the names back. There we go.
You got them back?
Yeah,
So-
if you go up the upper right-hand side and left-click on the ellipse, the 3 dots,
Yeah.
that's where you'll find the old version.
All right, now let me ask you something. You should be able, down on the little videos down here, you should be able to hover over them and get an option to mute the person. Do you see that?
Let's see if I can mute somebody. Well, no, but I'm not.
Oh,
You're
Jerry got muted.
You're
Somebody
the
muted
presenter,
Jerry.
so I don't know if I can do that.
Well,
Oh wait, I think I just did.
yeah, William just got muted. So, see, that's what I needed. That's what we needed the other night. Let's see. Left click on that, and now right click on that. If I fall off, I'll have to dial back in. All right, I'm going to the original version.
I cannot mute. I think you're the presenter probably in this room, so I can't do it.
How would you like to look after?
Who's
What?
got the background television one?
That's coming from Jerry.
And
Yeah,
Jerry,
sure.
You can mute him. You can mute him, man. Just mute him. Just click on him. There you go.
all right. Sorry, Jerry.
Now, all right.
You
So
gotta know you got background noise. Come on.
let's see. Original version. I'm gonna click on original version. Here we go.
I just lost talk.
When
right,
you
all right,
do the
I
legacy
think I'm back.
version, you reconnect. You'll have to unmute
okay.
yourself.
Now,
though,
see,
Tom.
now I can mute
Oh.
people.
Yeah,
And
Tom's now muted.
Whatever.
Yeah,
What?
when you reconnect, it
Oh,
automatically
oh.
mutes you.
All right. Yeah. Now I can mute people. That's what I needed the other night. We had all that noise on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much better with the older version because you can do that. You can,
But
That's
you know,
pretty cool.
next week they'll change it back again. And see, this gives me everybody's name too.
yeah.
No, I like having the names because
Yeah.
I'm 11 to 10:30 at night. I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Doc, I have CRS. Is there anything to help me with that?
Okay. Listen. Let's see. Russ
You mean you
KG0BK.
can't remember stuff?
Yeah, I can't
Stuff,
remember stuff.
Can't remember stuff.
Russ says he tried the camera and mic, but no go. Is the phone working? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, the phone's working. Let me. Russ probably remembers our phone number. Let me see if I can. Let me put our phone number up.
Is that going to help me out?
Let me put our phone number up.
Doc, you got any information on phosphatidylcholine or polyunsaturated phosphatidylcholine to help my memory?
Don't know much about that.
All right.
What's going on here? Why did that not work?
It's not a 1-900
Oh,
number.
there it is. There it is. There it is. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I think Russ wants to call in.
For a really good time.
Let me. If anybody wants to call in, the number is 901-286-1116.
I saw that written on the wall in Dayton bathroom.
Did you? Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to move it down where we can see it. It's kind of hidden up here. There we go. That'll look a little better right there. All right. Give us a call. Oh, it's ringing. All I got to do is answer it. Hello.
Hey, there's Mike.
Who's on the phone? Is that Russ?
Oh,
yeah,
fellas.
KG0BK.
Hey, Russ.
You hearing me all right?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I tried camera and mic earlier. I'm going to try just the mic. I don't know. I'm still putting this thing together here, but good show like always tonight, Tom. And wanted to say that we here in Dubuque just had a test session last Saturday, and it was similar to what I believe it was Mitch, as that's his name, was talking about. And we gave out brochures and such for them to study on about 4 weeks in advance. And we ended up 29 signed up. We had 27 show up, and now those 27, we had 25 passed. 2 of them didn't, but everybody else passed. Okay. And they went on to, well, we gave both fan radios away too, which helped to maybe get them excited, and it apparently worked. But only 2 didn't pass. And the funny thing was, they were both related. One was a mother, one was a uncle, one was a son that didn't pass. And the mother, who did pass, said she couldn't get the other 2 to study ahead of time. They thought they'd know everything by the time the course was over that day. But so we did real well. It wasn't too bad. They got pizza. I think we charged $105.
Well, I saw in the chat room tonight, someone said they had a class, 27 people, 25 passed. Was that you?
Oh, that would have been me.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good odds, 25 out of 27.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get a whole bunch back. Our nets are usually on Sunday nights, so we're hoping maybe this coming Sunday, we'll have a whole bunch of new ones on the 2-meter nets. Kind of looking forward to that, but kind of pat ourselves on the back for that. And I don't know who taught the test. It was somebody that they had got in, similar to Mitch, I guess, and who had done the footwork and such. But whoever it was did a very good job on getting everybody going. We were just the VE team and trying to test that, but times were a little tough, but it was a good session, and we thought it was a good success.
Well, great. Sounds like you guys are having fun. You're gonna have to get your camera. You're gonna have to get your camera fixed so you can join us.
Maybe want to call in. Just wanted to mention that tonight, and I'm still working on the mic and the camera here, so hopefully we'll get on soon and we can take a look at each other.
All right, sounds good, Russ. Thanks for checking in with us tonight by phone.
All the other guys here in the hangout, I see you all the time, hear you talking all the time, feel like I know you, but thanks, guys, and we'll catch you later. 7-3 from KG0BK.
Get that camera running, Russ.
Thanks.
Take care, Russ.
Thank you.
All right. I'm about ready for a snack. I need to get me
That's a good show. Good show.
I need to get me a peanut butter sandwich, I think.
Good information, Tom.
Well, yeah, I think it was pretty good, and it was pretty good timing with Dayton coming up. I think it was interesting, and
great timing.
That's always a kind of a special place for a lot of hams, and I know several of you guys are going to make it. I know Jeff's going to make it there, and Doc's making it, and who's that? Let's see.
I'll be there in spirit.
Yeah, okay. Maybe
I'll be in the chat room.
We'll think about it.
Yeah, I'll be there in spirit to chat, but wait for Hambot to call my name.
There you go. Win something.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if you guys have looked at it or not, but I've got most of the prizes in on the prize page. If you go to w5kub.com and up on the menu, click prizes, you'll see some of the prizes we have right now. I think we're missing a few things like handy talkies and a few things that are going to be added in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing about going to Dayton is that I don't get to participate in that. I tried to walk around the flea market one day with a cell phone and watch the chat room, but it didn't work.
Well, we want to give you extra credit for just trying that.
Well, I've tried it, but
that's more odds for me.
Yeah, that's right.
20,000.
The more you go to Dayton, the better my odds back here.
Well, I tell you, if your phone worked, you did better than about 19,000 people up here.
Yeah, well, you got 20,000 people walking around with cell phones trying to hit the towers in that area. You're not getting stuff done. Nothing's getting done.
Yeah, somebody described Dayton one time as a vast 2-meter wasteland.
You cannot, we tried years ago, and you almost cannot talk, 300 or 400 yards out there in the flea market on 2 meters. It's so crowded.
Some obscure frequency somewhere.
You can't even find a frequency,
Oh, I found good D-Star frequencies, simplex, that work fine.
We tried some FRS radios or something one time, and even there, they've got a lot of people on them out there.
Yeah, my buddy and I never have a problem working D-Star simplex throughout the complex.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it works fine. Hey, Tom, did you get the internet feed straightened out for?
Yeah. We're told it's going in. We're getting a Time Warner dedicated cable circuit put in to our booth.
Oh,
and
great.
It's we talked them down in the price. First they wanted too much, and we talked them down to $700 for the 4 days.
And does that money come out of your pocket?
Well, it has in the past, but we've got some people starting to give donations, and I think with donations and stuff this year, it's going to greatly help.
Yeah, if you haven't donated, send Tom. Send him $20.
You sent a donation in a while back, and it was a nice donation, and I really thank you for that. But
you're welcome.
Yeah, we're gonna. I think we'll be okay with it. I started up a GoFundMe on the page. It's raised a little bit of money, and then a lot of people are hitting the PayPal button on there. So,
what's that mean? The what button?
The PayPal. I've got a donate. I've got a donate link up here on the menu. So, we're going to get there. Probably the biggest expense, and see, I can't put the show on by myself. It takes at least 4 people just to set up and to manage the circuits and all that stuff. And so I've got 8 nights at a hotel of about $170 a night plus taxes and whatever. Well, actually, I got 9 nights, but I'm paying 1 night for astronaut Wheelock. So I've got 9 nights at the Drury, which is pretty expensive. It's probably going to average around. It's probably going to average around $200 a night, probably.
That's where I stay. Yes, $200 a night.
Are you at the Drury?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a very nice place.
Yes, it is.
I've tried some of these. Earlier years, I've tried some of the cheaper places, but the quality is just pretty bad up here, and it's getting worse. you know, 35 years ago when we first started going, we would take 10 of us up here and we would all stay in the same room at the Royal Hotel, and it was $35 a night.
Are you at the Drury this year?
Yeah, we're at the Drury. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, my buddy and I, Jim, will be there.
Yeah.
You know, Gordo stays there. He's great. You know, they have this little get together in the evenings where they give popcorn and hot dogs.
Oh yeah.
You know, chicken fingers and stuff. And Gordo's down there. They give, you know, some wine and beer away, and, you know, for the guests. And I got to sit with Gordo for the last 2 years for about an hour each year, and just pick his brain and talk about ham radio. And I can't put a price on that.
Yeah. Well, you know, hey, one of the interesting things, like I said, they got a nice free breakfast here. Hams are very creative people. They will come from nearby hotels over there and eat breakfast.
You don't want to say we're cheap. Yeah.
You know, they just just walk in here, man. You know, you get your bacon, eggs, and sausage, and toast, and waffles, and I mean, it's free breakfast.
We're not cheap. We're just inexpensive.
It's a free breakfast, and I've never seen them check anybody.
I've never seen them check anyone either. The Icon guys there too.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
I've always been curious. What did Gordo do before he did what he's doing now?
Oh, ham radio. I mean, I think the biggest part of Gordo's career has been in maritime communications, and I mean, he does checking out and certifying boats and the communication systems in boats, and that's what he does.
I didn't know if he had done something in a previous life, and he just sort of took this up, you know, on the side. And
well,
you know,
if I get a chance, I'll ask him.
I think he's almost got to be on the side. I don't think you can make a living doing this.
No, he does. He does the maritime mobile communications, and he does inspections. And you know, you have to be able to get your ship checked out, with the communications checked out properly and licensed. And that's what he does. He goes in and checks that stuff out.
So is that what he's always done?
I don't know that for a fact, but that's what he does. It's what he always talks about.
Yeah.
You know, you get that.
I was just curious. I've never seen a bio on him or anything like that. I was just kind of curious.
You know,
what his background was.
Maybe I need to jump in that. You know, I've got the FCC first class license with the ship radar endorsement. Of course, I've never seen a ship radar, but
well, that's what you need, right?
But you know, I can work on ship radar.
Well, and he certainly has the books for all that, and he talks about if you want to do this, what he says, if you want to do what I do, and you know, go down to your you know, the coast where you live and work and certify the radios on all these ships. This is what you need, and that's what I believe that's what he does, and he works with the Coast Guard Auxiliary and teaches classes there. So I don't know if just teaching is what he does, but I'm pretty sure he, you know, part of his business is also doing that, you know, certification of the vessels.
Well, last time I stayed at the Drury, I think Bob Heil was also there. I don't know if he's a regular there or if he'll be there, but
no,
it's a very convenient. That's a very convenient. That area there on Miller Lane is very convenient to get to Hamvention.
Yeah, it sure is. That would be my choice of all the places, I think.
Yeah, this will be my fourth year there. And all the ICOM guys stay there too.
Oh, I'm probably gonna have to hide. If all them guys are there, I don't know. They're probably looking for me.
Why? They should be looking for you to give you a radio.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Nice IC 7300 or something like that.
Yeah,
there you go. Probably all the autograph seekers will be out.
What autograph seekers?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'll have somebody with me that definitely gives autographs, and that's Colonel Wheelock. I tell you,
I bet
he signs autographs and on his pictures and stuff. Till I would drop, man. That's my problem. With him Friday and Saturday with us, he's probably going to be sitting at a table talking and signing pictures for that 16 hours. My plan is to try to make him a co-host and get him up there in front of the camera where I can rest a little bit.
I tried to bring up stuff on Gordon West on the computer here, but there's nothing that talks about it I can find about his former life. Everything has got to do with his school and training and books that I can bring up on him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's done. I mean, it's just his training and training in a lot of different areas of radio. But I mean,
I thought there might have been like a Wikipedia on Gordon West, but it doesn't come up.
Well, someone has to write one.
I think I Googled him one time to see, if there was any kind of a bio or anything on him. I'll have to ask him when I see him.
But Tom, I think you need to get Gordo on the show one night. I'm sure he would do it.
Get who?
Gordon West.
Oh yeah, Gordon will. I'm sure. I mean, I think he will. I got a card. I got a QSL card from Gordon about 3 months ago. And I thought it was strange. I looked at it and I turned it over, and he wrote a note on the back that says, "Tom, much to contrary belief, no one on Ham Nation gets a cent." Now, I didn't know why he sent it. I don't know why he sent that to me. So I picked the phone up and I called him. And I said, "Gordon, what are you talking about here? If somebody said something, if somebody said that I've talked bad or said something, or I said, maybe it was somebody in the chat room." I said, "I don't get to read the chat room." He said, "Yeah, well, it might have been, I don't know." He never did answer me. He never did answer me,
That's too bad.
So I sent a note to Bob, and I said, "Bob, I got this crazy note from Gordon, man." I said, "What's going on, man?" But Bob never answered me back. But Bob typically, a lot of times he doesn't answer. He's just so busy. I mean,
yeah,
Bob supports us.
So
he supports us. He gives us prizes, and
yes.
I sent him a note last night that my mic here had broken, and the next morning he already had me a replacement being sent out. So Bob takes care of us.
That's fantastic.
But I don't know if Gordon thinks that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, man. It's not like I'm trying to, start rumors about him or something.
The more people that talk about this hobby and the more venues that we have, the better off everybody is.
Yeah, that's a plus for everybody.
Oh, let's see. I got a note from Brian. They're up in Ohio. He says, "Tom, I sent a picture of inside exhibits tonight to your Gmail. We're shipping out badges, so I guess I'm getting some of my badges and maybe a picture. I don't know what the picture is. Let me look at my Gmail, see what Hamvention sent me."
So do I still pick my badge up there?
No. The instructions I gave you are what you'll use.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about it. Let's see what Brian said.
And are you going to be there Thursday?
Yep.
All right. So
okay. Yeah. Here, Brian. Brian Markland sent me a note. Let's see. What is this? For your show, inside exhibits, preparing to send a packets. Brian, I don't understand what you're. I see what it is. He took a picture. Oh man, they're getting all the packets together to go out with all the tickets and the floor plans and all that. That's what he's doing. Brian's on here. Brian Markland's on here. He's the chairman for the Inside Exhibits. He's on the chat room, N8UDQ. He always really takes care of us there. Brian, we're going to leave as early as we can Wednesday morning, and it's at least a 10-hour drive getting up there. I know it puts us in here about 6 or 7 o'clock, but man, if you can unlock the door and let us get in again this year like you did the last couple years. It would really, really help us. Hamvention is really taking good care of us last year, too. I mean, they unlocked it at night so we could get in and unload.
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching some of the setup stuff in the past that you've had, Tom.
You know, the thing about the setups, you know, basically we're just trying to see if the internet's going to work and stuff like that. And it takes us a long time to really get our booth set up like we like it. But we try to get a feed on because you never know. You're going to have Gordon West come walk by and visit. You'll have Bob Howell come by, you know, and that turns into, you know, interesting conversations, and people get to see them, and they yell at them in a chat room, and so, you know, it's Thursday's kind of like a bonus for people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've watched it, you know, going up the road sometime. You know, as we travel up the road, we'll watch your feed.
Oh man, here's a comment in the chat room. Now, I don't have the guys' call letters, and we'll keep it confidential. But Ham Radio 54878 said, "Tom, enjoy your show more than Ham Nation. You're getting better all the time, and way less commercials."
Yeah,
you know, I was thinking about I was thinking about doing some pill commercials here. I've got a pill box in here, man. I've been taking medicine for a week.
I believe in the value for value model.
And Brian says always he'll be there to help us. Always, he has plenty to do Wednesday night.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna get going. My boy's heading out to some band trip at 3:00 in the morning. So
oh man,
I got to make sure he's all packed up, and I got to start prepping myself for getting up early.
Well, all right.
Is that the reason for no cigar tonight?
Well, I had mine earlier, so I was working here in the garage, and I kind of started early, so I just finished it before we went on.
Well, all right, William. Thanks a lot for hanging in here with us tonight.
Yeah, you guys have a great week.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Okay, you too.
All right. How do I share this?
What are you gonna do?
I want to share a picture. I'm gonna figure this out.
You want to share a picture?
Where's that?
You click that little green arrow. That little green arrow on the left.
Green arrow on the left.
See over on the left of your screen? Huh?
Oh, I collapsed what I needed to. Give me a second here. I collapsed something.
You going to Dayton, Jerry? No.
No, sir, I wouldn't.
Not this time, huh?
All right, Russ. Save me 3, Russ.
I'll do that. Include something down. Hangout. There it is. The Hangout.
So you want to share on Hangout?
Yeah, I want to. Let's see.
You just click that little green arrow.
Oh, there it is. All right, how's that?
I don't have anything yet. Oh, there we got it.
You got that one?
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Oh, well,
There's Bob and George and myself.
Yeah.
And
hey, wait a minute. You look different there, man. Your hair looks different.
Yeah, well, it always looks different. There's Bob, myself, Gordo, and George.
Oh, that's when they premiered their. That was so funny. I was looking at George and then. Did you see how much makeup they had on for that?
They had no makeup on.
You didn't see that? You didn't see the makeup those guys had on?
Oh no, I don't think they have. Do you really think they have makeup
on? I got
it?
some pictures somewhere. I'm talking like it looked like it was put on with a putty knife, man. I have to dig the pictures out, you know.
Tom. No wonder
I'll put the pictures out. I'll put the pictures out. Also, that's the same time Gordon's in his tuxedo there, but he had shorts on.
Oh yeah, he's got. Of course, I got my shorts on too, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got one more. What is this? I gotta flip that around. Hold on one second. Okay, here's a dinner when George got his award. He invited me to that dinner.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Now, was that at the banquet?
I was really impressed.
Was that was that at the banquet?
That's at the banquet when they gave him his award.
You know, it looks like that's a different place than where we had it at the we had it at some civic place or something. I don't know.
I can't remember the name of this place. I mean, I don't know anything about Dayton.
Yeah,
but it was
it
was probably a 20-minute drive into Dayton from the Drury Inn.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there you go. Little history.
Yeah.
Little fun. You know, I mean, when you meet people, you never know what you might end up, getting to do.
Mm-hmm.
I never met George before, but I had Hamvention. I had talked to him on the chat room and shared emails, and he invited me and my buddies to this. I mean,
that's cool.
He had some other people he invited, but it was cool.
Now, I mean, hey, if he invited you,
Gordon West when I went about 10 years ago, I went into one of his seminars. It was kind of neat to watch him put on his basic demonstration for the non-hams that were in there. Yeah.
And Gordo, I mean, geez, to sit down and speak with him for a little while, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to change this camera back.
Now, if they invited you there and they invited if George invited a number of people, that must have been a lot bigger venue than where we did it last year.
No, he had a table with, I think everyone had like the 10-person table. It wasn't.
Oh, really?
It wasn't.
Yeah. You're right. It was like 8 to 10 people, maybe to a table, and I don't know. But I think I invited. I think 3 people went with me.
I don't think George had a full table either. I mean, I don't know if there's so many people that have other things that they're planning to do on that night, and I guess he just didn't.
Well, I don't know about you, but for me going to that banquet that night, we had to shut down early. We had to shut down our webcast early at Hamvention on Saturday to go to that thing.
Oh wow!
I think we had to shut down about 4:00 or something, 4:30.
Oh, I know what I'm doing.
I'm usually so beat by the time I get through with the walking around all day that all I want to do is to go get something to eat and drink and go to bed.
Yeah, get off your feet. I get it.
Yeah.
My feet are killing me at the end of it.
Well, while I got Brian in the chat room, Brian again is the chairman of the Inside Exhibits. Brian, I hope you have donuts. Boy, those are the good donuts that you put out there for us. When I come in here Friday morning, man, I want to get me a handful of those donuts. Are you guys going to have good donuts again this year for us?
I don't think that's on your diet, Tom.
Well, I ain't had a donut in a long time.
He makes an exception. Once a year at Dayton, he chows down on donuts.
That's right.
Oh well, you know what? I don't think I've had a donut since Dayton last year. Actually, tell you the truth. I mean, I would like to. Those things are good. But
you mean you haven't had one since then?
I get tempted sometimes.
Hey Doc, I've cut out all sugars and processed foods for the last 6 weeks. I've lost about 12 pounds.
Makes a difference.
Oh my God, and I feel great. I had my blood tested. Everything's functioning well. Although, I'm going to ask you a question. Does anyone mind if I ask you a medical question?
Well, that's what this section's for every night, to ask Doc. We have an Ask Riley for FCC. We got an Ask Doc here for medical stuff.
I have a little low sodium, and my doctor was a little concerned. He's like, that can cause brain swelling.
That's true.
It was like a 29.
Are you taking the diuretic?
No, I'm not, and I don't drink excessive amounts of water. I mean, I do drink water during the day.
Boy, you better start eating some salt.
Usually, when you have a low sodium, it usually is not that your sodium is that you don't have enough salt. It's that you have too much water, because what you're looking at is a concentration of the sodium, and so in any kind of concentration, you got the the water and or the what it's diluted in, and then you got the solute, which is the sodium. So anytime that you have a low sodium, it usually means, almost always means, that you have too much water. So what I do to my patients is to tell them to restrict their water to about a quart a day.
Wow.
Really? All right. Well, I'll start doing that then.
Man,
Yeah,
I
if
may
your
be
sodium
getting.
gets too low, your brain swells and you'll start wobbling around and you can't think straight. And a lot of older folks get low sodiums and fall.
You know, I may be getting too much water too. There's water in Coke in a Diet Coke, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, I drink about a 2-liter Diet Coke a day. I wonder how much water is in that. You think that's more than a quart?
I'd say about 2 liters.
Oh man.
Well, you know, I drink beer. You know,
almost always.
Beer's got water in it, and so yeah, maybe that's it. Just cut back on.
Yeah, wonder how much water.
Say again.
Wonder how much water is in my Bud Light.
It's mostly water.
Mostly water, yeah.
Everything we drink is mostly water.
And I do drink a lot of water at work. It's just like a habit to go to the the water cooler and just fill a cup up and drink it. Keep it on the desk as well, I'm working, and so yeah, maybe I am drinking too much water.
Well, there are some other syndromes where you get a low sodium that can be other medical conditions, but like adrenal insufficiency and things like that.
Right.
There's certain kinds of lung cancers that can cause low sodiums.
I've read about it, and my blood work came back. I mean, my liver functions are fine. My kidney functions are fine. The thyroid, one of them was a little low, but just right out of range, and so they said,
Yeah, the simple thing to do is just to restrict your water intake a little.
Okay.
Oh, I never heard that before.
But I don't feel like I've got any memory.
We had a doctor come in.
I've got some people that just drink water all day long, and I say, why do you drink the water? Well, because it's supposed to be good for me, and I say, I drink it when I'm thirsty. I don't drink it just to be drinking it.
All right.
Well, hey, let me ask you a question here. I won't give any details, and this is not me. So, Doc, have you watched Duck Dynasty?
I think I saw part of an episode one time.
All right. Anyway, Cy drinks tea. Okay, here's my medical question for you. Now, first of all, you're not getting in trouble because we're in the same state, right? You're licensed in Tennessee.
I am.
Okay, so here's.
But he's not giving medical advice.
Here's my question right here.
Just don't sue me if I give you the wrong answer, though. Okay.
What is the medical opinion on somebody that drinks iced tea all the day? They can't go anywhere unless they take iced tea with them. They can't go anywhere in a car. They go on a trip, they'll take a gallon jug of iced tea with them. They'll keep filling the glass up the entire trip. Iced tea all day. They might have low
sodium.
Huh?
They might have a low sodium blood level.
Yeah, they might. But I've had patients that say they drink. They drink like
that's Doc. That's Uncle Cy, Duck Dynasty.
I've had people that say they drink 30 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah.
And I say, gosh, I don't drink 30 cups of anything in a day, much
Right.
less coffee. I wouldn't have time to see patients. I'd just be going to the can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a safety meeting, and one time one of the physical therapists come in, and our safety meeting told us all the amount of water that we were supposed to be drinking. And we all kind of chuckled because we're all transit bus drivers. I said,
Yeah, right.
We drink the amount of water that you're telling us to drink. We'll be pulling that bus over to us quite often.
Absolutely. Well, I think that except in situations where you're sweating, there's no reason to push water. I think the only other situation I can think of would be if you have kidney stones, and you probably ought to hydrate real good for that. But
yeah. Well, hey, Doc, I hadn't drank any milk since I was about.
They're worse than giving birth.
I know milk is good for your bones and all that stuff. I hadn't had any milk since I was about 1 year old or 1 or 2 years old. When my mama took the bottle away from me, she'd roll me down to the tavern in the stroller, and she'd fill my bottle up with Coca-Cola. And I hadn't had any milk. I don't drink milk since then. Of course, I'll get milk and things like mashed potatoes and stuff,
Have you had a bone density test?
That's a good
Well,
question.
I don't know. I get a physical thing almost twice a year.
They put your heel into a little device?
The what?
I bet you've never had a bone density.
No, well, I probably not.
Yeah, and
You don't drink no.
your heel goes into a little device that reads your bone density. That's the easiest way to test it. You might want to. Life Screen, I think, is the one that. Weren't we talking about that last week or the week before? Life Screen. That must have been another net I was on.
Well,
Sorry.
I tell you, the thing, I think to keep me healthy, I've eaten like a couple sausage and biscuits every day for like the last 20 years.
Keeps me in business, Tom.
Let me tell you, hey, Doc, they've got this test. Maybe you know the name of it. I don't know. It checks calcium or something in your arteries.
Stress test is what you need.
It checks to see your arteries are stopped up by measuring the calcium or something, and the scale's like 1 to 10. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
It's the CT's calcium score.
Oh, okay. Is that a good test to tell how good your veins and arteries are?
Some people think it is. I don't use it.
Yeah. Well, I think the scale. I think if I remember right, the scale was like 1 to 10. I was real afraid I was going to get a bad number when I came out of there. 10 being bad, and I came out. I think I had a 1.
Well, that's good. You got good genes.
Well, I don't know about that.
My grandfather, who lived to be in his 80s, ate pork side meat, and he didn't have an ounce of fat on him, but he was a hard-working guy. He was a little bitty, scrawny guy, and he ate that salt pork side meat. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We called it streaked meat.
Yeah.
He ate that just about every day of his life.
Wow.
And unfortunately, that's not what killed him. He had emphysema.
Yeah.
So.
I thought you were going to say a pig ran him over.
Send me through to Brian, the Inside Exhibits chairman. N8UDQ is leaving us. I could say Elvis has left the building.
I think I'm going to sign off, guys. I've got a few other things I need to do before I call it a day. So.
And I'll send you my check for the advice.
and Jill in the chat room says at least this conversation is a bit more upscale than that colonoscopy chatter a couple months back.
Well, we hadn't got to the colonoscopy.
Yeah, we can go back. We can go back there.
Yeah.
Going where no man has gone before.
That's right.
Hey, the doctor that did my colonoscopy, his name's Dr. Pekin.
Doctor who?
What we got to get into this hangar room is some more younger people that can talk about other stuff other than our aches and pains and medication and everything we got to take.
We could also get some women in here. Jill, why don't you get a camera on so we can talk to you?
Well, she's in the chat room.
Then we'd have to clean up our conversation, So.
Well, they're hearing it anyway.
I guess so. Good night, everybody.
Don, I'll see you in Dayton, right?
You will.
All right.
And hey, you guys come by and see us. And Jeff, if you need more information, just email me or.
Oh no, I'm good with what you sent me already. I don't have a problem. That's good. I'll see you Thursday afternoon. Our flight comes in around. Well, we probably won't get to the arena around 3 till about 3 o'clock Thursday.
It's going on 11:30 here. Time for me to call it a night here too.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, it's getting late.
All right, Mike. We'll see you 7:3, Mike. And Jill said she's not going to get in here with us.
I don't blame her. I don't blame you, Jill.
All right. Well, let's see. We've almost been webcasting 2 hours and 45 minutes, roughly. This is going to take about 16 hours to edit on YouTube.
What do you edit out, Tom?
Well, what I need to do, I usually edit the music off the front end.
Right. That should be pretty easy to do.
Well, it takes on a show like tonight, it takes YouTube at least 8 to 10 hours to process that once I click edit.
Right, but how long does it take you to?
Oh, it doesn't take me very long.
Okay.
Now, if something went wrong and I needed to revert back to the original or cut another little clip out, it'd take another 8 hours.
Well, I did just cuss at the end of that last segment. Do you have to take that out?
Well, I didn't hear
it. Well, it'll be on. All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to go. I'll see you guys. We'll see Jerry and Jeff, everybody. Good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right.
Yeah, good night.
So, let's see what we got going here. So, guys, we're coming to you from Studio 2 tonight in Collierville, Tennessee. We're going to say 73 to everybody.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
All right, Kurt. Give me a call. Come by and say hello, Kurt. We'll see you. 73.